He passed, and as immovable as, with the last sigh given, lay his own clay, oblivious, from that great spirit, riven.
Do not let it weigh too heavily on you, Henri. History will pass its judgment.
Was it true glory? Posterity. Thine be the hard decision.
Travellers, welcome to Milan. But this isn't just any old Milan. This is Stendhal's Milan. In this podcast, we'll discover the city through the eyes of a special visitor, the writer Marie-Henri Belle, better known as Stendhal. For him, this city was a second home. He first arrived with Napoleon's army and returned to live here after the emperor's defeat, between 1814 and 1821. Who could be a better guide as we explore the city as it used to be, how it is now, and how it has evolved through time? So, let's don on our Empire-style tailcoats and take in a little romantic spirit. Off we go! In this episode, we'll stroll through the very heart of the city, making our way towards Palazzo di Brera. We'll hear from one of the most celebrated writers of all time, for whom Milan was his favourite place of residence. After the fall of Napoleon's empire in 1814, the Congress of Vienna restored Europe's former rulers to their thrones. Milan became only nominally independent, as the capital of the Kingdom of Lombardy-Venetia, yet remained firmly under Austrian domination. Napoleon, exiled on the island of Saint Helena, died in 1821, the eventful year when our story resumes. From the Kingdom of the Two Sicilies to Piedmont and Lombardy-Venetia, a wave of revolutionary movements is sweeping across the peninsula. Italian patriots pursuing freedom and unity through secret societies decide the moment has come to light the powder keg and expel foreign regimes once and for all. The revolts will have mixed outcomes, but the wheels of the Risorgimento and the unification of Italy have begun to turn. Nothing will stop them now until Italy is unified. Meanwhile, our friend Stendhal is preparing to leave his beloved Milan for Paris. The city is no longer safe for him. The Austrian police are breathing down his neck and suspect him of subversive activities.
Good morning, mes amis. Here you are again. I was just thinking how difficult it is to live in these treacherous and uncertain times. It seems you can't trust anyone. I fear I will soon have to leave, and the nearer that moment approaches, the more melancholy grips my heart. But this morning, I'd rather put gloomy thoughts aside and enjoy a refreshing walk. At the moment, I'm staying at the Albergo Bella Venezia, overlooking Piazzetta San Fedele, under the very shadow of the Madonnina, a small building wedged between the Jesuit College and Via Marino. When I first arrived in 1814, the hotel didn't exist, and the building was still part of the Palazzo Sanazzari. Do you know what happened here that year? On discovering Napoleon had fallen, an enraged crowd stormed the palace where Giuseppe Prina, the Minister of Finance, had his residence. The poor fellow was discovered half naked and terrified, hiding inside a closet. It didn't take long for the mob to toss him from the window and lynch him in the public square below.
That's exactly how it was. Prina was the most hated man in the Kingdom of Italy. Do you know why? Because Napoleon's constant military campaigns were incredibly expensive and required a steady and substantial flow of public funds. That is, taxes. Minister Prina took his task particularly to heart and displayed remarkable creativity in inventing new taxes to impose on subjects. In an irony of fate, he ended up paying the highest price of all. When the Austrians returned, Palazzo Sanazzari had been partially demolished, but a remaining section became the Albergo Bella Venezia, a renowned hotel that hosted figures of the statue of Giuseppe Mazzini and Silvio Pellico, in addition to Stendhal. It no longer exists today. It was demolished around 1930 and replaced by a rationalist-style building.
What crisp air there is in the square. Mass at San Fedele has just ended. The architecture of this church is magnificent. I recall that when I first saw it, I wrote in my diary how beautiful it was, but beautiful in a Greek sense. cheerful and noble, without awe. But wait a moment. Is that him? Mon Dieu, yes! The man on the church steps is indeed Alessandro Manzoni. Monsieur Manzoni, un moment.
Wait a second, Henri. Let me give some context. As with Silvio Pellico in our previous episode, we don't have evidence that Stendhal and Alessandro Manzoni actually met, but it's a small world, and Piazzetta San Fedele is smaller still. So let's try and imagine the scene. Here is Manzoni turning towards our excited friend, asking,
Qui êtes-vous, monsieur?
May I have the honor of introducing myself? My name is Henri Bale, but you may call me Stendhal.
Do you speak French?
Oui, bien sûr. In our family, we usually speak either French or Milanese, but I haven't asked how may I be of help.
I merely wish to meet the greatest literary figure of our times. Do you come often here to San Fedele?
I'm deeply devoted to this church, which is also close to my residence in Piazza Belgioioso. Have you ever passed by there?
Well, yes, just once or twice.
Manzoni was a very active parishioner at the 16th century church of San Fedele, built for the Jesuits and designed by Pellegrino Pellegrini, known as Tibaldi. The steps of this very church, the setting for the imagined meeting between our two writers, would one day prove fatal. On the 6th of January 1873, the elderly Manzoni, or Don Lisander as he was affectionately known, slipped on these steps and suffered severe injuries. He survived in agony for 5 months before dying on May the 22nd. However, if you visit Piazza San Fedele today, you can pay him a visit. His statue stands there high on its pedestal, watching over everyone who walks by.
Might I have the pleasure of accompanying you, wherever you happen to be going?
C'est un plaisir. I'm going to the Brera Academy.
And so Manzoni and Stendhal embark on their walk together. As they head north, they discuss politics, art and literature, passing through Piazza della Scala, which is separated from Piazza San Fedele by the majestic Palazzo Marino. They then walk past the church of San Giuseppe and wander through the narrow streets, flanked by the old buildings of the Brera district.
Apparently, the exhibition of a large new canvas by the painter Francesco Hayez is exciting great admiration. Imagine, it depicts a scene from one of my tragedies, Il Conte di Carmagnola, which I published just last year.
I've read a few passages. It is truly a work worthy of you.
Even amid hardship, we're living at a time of profound renewal. Art and literature have the duty to guide the soul towards the loftiest ideals, liberty, brotherhood, and faith. That's exactly why I wrote Il Conte di Carmagnola. But it's not about empty words, such as those drawn from the tired pagan myths recycled by the neoclassicals. Only a kind of literature shaped by truth, at once useful and compelling, can cultivate the highest values in us. That is the essence of Romanticism.
It was Manzoni who, in his 1823 Letter on Romanticism, defined the essence of Romantic literature with his formula, useful in its aim, truth as its subject, and interesting in its means. These same ideals would later be expressed in paintings by artists such as Francesco Hayez, the author of what is considered the manifesto of Romantic art, The Kiss, now on display at the Pinacoteca di Brera. But let's return to our walk. Just around the corner stands the austere building of Palazzo di Brera. Though its construction dates back to the late 16th century, its current appearance owes much to the work of Giuseppe Piermarini in the second half of the 18th century. Inside, there is a library, botanical gardens, an astronomical observatory, and the Academy of Fine Arts, where the initial core of the collection of works was assembled on what would become the Pinacoteca di Brera. Passing through the portal, the two writers cross the courtyard, surrounded by students and visitors. As Manzoni makes his way towards the staircase, Stendhal pauses a few steps behind, lost in thought.
I wonder what became of that superb plaster cast by Antonio Canova that once stood in one of the Academy's rooms. The one depicting Napoleon as Mars the Peacemaker. Do you recall it? It's probably shattered now, like his empire. And in this very year, 1821, Mon empereur est mort, as you wrote in your ode, the 5th of May. He passed, and as immovable as, with the last sigh given, lay his own clay, oblivious, from that great spirit, riven.
Do not let it weigh too heavily on you, Henri. History will pass its judgment.
Was it true glory? Posterity. Thine be the hard decision.
We'll leave Stendhal here, just as he steps into the halls of Brera. What will become of his beloved Milan, and of all the people he has come to know? The future is uncertain, but still waiting to be discovered. You've been listening to Milan and Stendhal, a double portrait, a podcast created by Artglass and Biblioteca Sormani. The podcast was produced by Artglass as part of the project Archivi, la Milano che non conoscevi in realtà aumentata, co-funded by resources from the European Union, the Italian government, and the Lombardy region, in accordance with Regulation EU 2021/1060, Articles 46, 47, 50, and Annex 9. Script writing, voiceover, music, and post-production by Ears. Special thanks to Regione Lombardia and the Milan Public Libraries Network.
Iniziativa realizzata con il contributo del programma FESR, Fondo Europeo di Sviluppo Regionale di Regione Lombardia.